Hi there. Today I'll be making some pasta with tuna sauce, and the ingredients for this are just some basic fusilli, different savories. I do have just a little bit, but I like it as it is because it's enough, and I think for myself today it's gonna be enough. I have some chopped tomatoes. I always use this brand, Napolina, but I would recommend you can use any other brand that you like to use as chopped tomatoes. And I'll be using some canned tuna. I have tuna chunks in sunflower oil, so that's gonna be the basic tuna that we're gonna use for the sauce. I have one pan for boiling the fusilli and another pan for making the sauce, and this recipe should take about half an hour to make it, and it's a very easy one, and I always cook this whenever I need some comfort food, especially now where it's winter time. Apart from that, what else will I be using? I have some olive oil for my sauce. I'll have some salt and probably some oregano, but that's gonna come soon. In my pan for boiling the pasta, I'm just adding about half of the pan, half of water in it, and I'm just gonna put it to boil. When it's gonna start doing little bubbles, I will add some salt, but that's gonna stay there. And for the sauce, while the water is boiling, I'm just gonna turn the hob on if it lets me do that. On yourself. And the way I do it, just because I'm not a big fan of sunflower oil, I'm just putting olive oil in it and opening the can with the tuna, and I'm just gonna get rid of the oil that's in here, and I'm just gonna add the tuna in the pan. You'll see there's going to be a little bit of sunflower oil here, but that's fine. It's not a big issue. So I'm just going to put my tuna in the pan. You can hear the nice sizzling sound. So now that I've done this, just mix it up a little bit, just checking it's fine. I realized I need a little bit of olive oil. You can never go wrong with olive oil. While I let the tuna here, I am going to find some oregano, and that's going to be added when I'm going to put the tomatoes in it. If you like it with a lot more tuna, you can add an extra can of tuna, but for me this is enough. And just because I don't have too many fusilli, I'm not gonna use the whole can of tomatoes, probably half. So I just put it here. Yeah, a little bit more than a half, and I'm just gonna mix it up with tuna, add a bit of oregano. I'm not a big fan of spices, but I still like adding spices to it. So just a little bit, more like a teaspoon. And I usually cook with sea salt, and I just have this amazing funny spoon, and I eat 1 spoon of salt, and I leave this to cook, and I gently mix the things up. While this is cooking, I can see there are bubbles coming into my boiling water, so I'm just gonna add a dash of salt. What does the salt to the water is just when I'm gonna put my fusilli in the water, they're not gonna stick, and that's the only thing that I'm adding to my boiling water, and I'm just putting the fusilli in the water. About it. I leave it there, and I make sure all the pasta is covered in water. Now I'm just mixing up my sauce, and this is gonna stay. This is gonna stay on the hob the whole time while my pasta is boiling, and I'm keeping an eye out on it. I don't want it to stick on the pan. It's not gonna stay, but I just want to make sure it's gonna get nice and gently. But looking at it now, I think no, my sauce is enough. I was just thinking if I should add more tomatoes in it, but it's fine. So now this is gonna stay here for about 10 to 15 minutes while I'm still mixing it from time to time, looking at putting just the fire a little bit slower, and that stays like this. Just look at this wonderful sauce that is coming up here, and I'm pretty sure it will be delicious because I've done this for more than once, so I know, I trust my instinct that it's going to be really tasty. You can see now that the pasta water is boiling. My sauce is getting almost ready. Sometimes I like to taste it just because I know I want to make sure I'm adding the right ingredients, and I want to make sure the tuna is cooked and the tomatoes are cooked as well. This is going to be great. It's perfect for November time. And while I mix this up, if you like it with a lot more sauce, then I would recommend adding the full can of tomatoes. Take the same spoon, and I just gently mix my pastas. And as I said, I've done this many times, and getting your pasta ready is just a matter of practice, of exercise, because even when I mix my pasta, I sort of feel how much is boiled. So even if I squeeze the pasta a little bit, I know it's not cooked yet. And the secret to the sauce is just taking a bit of water from the pasta and putting it in the sauce. I will take a little bit, but it doesn't have to be much, just a couple of spoons. For fusilli, cooking time is a bit longer. I would say about 10 minutes. To make it al dente is just a matter again of practice. There are moments when depending on how fast the fire is, it takes longer. It takes about 15 minutes to cook. Sometimes it can only take 9 minutes. But with this type of pasta, I know it's around 10 to 12 minutes to have it al dente. And the way I check out is just by taking one pasta, and I can touch it, but That's whenever I'm not sure at all, but now I can feel it is still, it needs to boil properly. I'm just adding a bit more water. There's nothing wrong with it. It just gives an extra flavor to the sauce because the pasta has a specific taste, and that can go directly into the sauce. And you mix it up. Sometimes I'm like adding a bit of garlic, but today I forgot about it. But I think these ingredients are enough. I like simple cooking, but tasty. So tuna and tomatoes, a teaspoon of salt, half of a teaspoon or a teaspoon of oregano. That should be enough for the fusilli and tuna recipe. Mix it up. If you see your sauce is cooked already, you can put this on the side and bring it back to cooking when your fusillis are boiled. So now for me this is ready. So I'm gonna turn it off, but leave it here where it's warm, adding a bit more water to give consistency as well. What does the water from the pasta do? It simply takes up, it gives some consistency, it gives a bit of flavor, and it brings it together. Now, once I've done this, I'm just going to wait for my fusilli to get ready so I can add them and mix the sauce and the pasta together. And that's going to be in about another 7 minutes. So there we are. So I can see my pasta is almost cooked. So I can take one of these, just taste it. Make sure you don't hurt yourself. I've done this so many times. So when it's al dente, it has just a little bit, a tiny bit of uncooked pasta. It shouldn't be sticky. No way, it shouldn't be sticky at all. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the fusilli over the sauce. It doesn't matter if you spill some water into the sauce. As I said, the pasta will help the sauce, and because my pasta is al dente, then I'm sure that any excess water, it still can go, it can still go in the pasta. You can still cook it. It will absorb, the pasta will absorb the excess water, so and some of it will just evaporate when I'm putting it back to cooking. So I'm gonna turn off this one. I don't have a strainer, just because it's a small amount of pasta. I don't need to bother of using a strainer. I'm not putting the pasta through water. I've never done this. I'm just taking the pasta from when they're boiled, and I'm just putting it on top of the sauce. And now I'm just gonna mix it and give it about 2 minutes. Just mix, mix, and mix. At this final stage, I like adding a bit of pepper. Grind it. It's fresh pepper, and I'm grinding it. Putting it back. give it a good mix. Make sure the sauce is properly mixed with the fusilli, because the fusilli absorb the sauce. They're specially made to absorb the sauce like this, which is a very nice idea. Once I've done so, I can leave the pasta for a few moments just to sit a little bit with the sauce. But sometimes I'm just in a hurry and I'm too hungry to wait, so I'm just mixing this. Just mixing it. And while I notice it's done, I have a plate, I have a fork for myself. Oh, love the sound, love the sound. Now I just turn off the hob, put some delicious pasta on my plate. To enjoy. Very comforting lunch on this rather gloomy November day. See, it's cloudy, it's not raining, but it's cloudy. I didn't see the sun today. Been working, I'm on my lunch break. This is it. Have a good lunch, and I hope you like my recipe. If you'd like to leave me a comment down below, to give it a like and subscribe. Bon appétit!